So, Alan, you're from Ulster. Worked there for 6 years, you told me.
Yeah.
And what do you do?
Well, I head up everything digital, so all the website stuff, everything on social media, and now looking after gaming as well. I always say it's all the cool geeky stuff.
Cool. So you have the fun job.
Yeah.
Cool. And how long have you guys been focusing on social media in general?
Well, for us as a business, we don't advertise traditionally, so creating content and making really cool stuff is pretty much what we've done from day one. Social provides a microphone. It's a platform for us just to talk about cool stuff. And I think one thing that we learned a long time ago is it's not very cool to talk about yourself. It's always cool to talk about other people. So we've got great bands, athletes, events that we get involved in, and social media is just a way that we can talk about them in a really cool way.
Cool. And do you find it, we experienced that a couple of years ago. It's really easy to, get your voice heard in terms of reach. And we see numbers that reach is just falling dramatically all over the place. Have you experienced anything like that?
Painfully, I have to say yes. Yeah, I mean, a few years ago, 2 years ago, I think especially, it was the peak of things for us. We were kicking ass, really. At that point, I think we were getting about 600,000 new fans a month, and it was an incredible time. But yeah, over the last year or two, I think the change in the edge rank and the way Facebook puts content into news feeds has changed dramatically. So I wish I had the answer onto how to increase that, but we're just testing and trying new things. But I'd always come back to the number one thing for us is always just creating cool, credible content, and everything from there we can test and see how to increase. But yeah, it starts with the cool, credible content.
Yeah, I agree. So what kind of content do you create with your fans and with the guys you sponsor? Is it videos? Is it pictures? What kind of content is it?
Videos and pictures, I would say. Visual. I'd like to say, Monster is a very visual brand, but I think as humans we're just very visually kind of driven, really. So yeah, imagery and video is something that we put a huge focus into, because I think also the way you use Facebook and everyone else uses Twitter and stuff, and the majority of people being on mobiles now, it's just going through, and there's so much content and stuff flying into your news feed, so you're fighting for so much, and people, this is how they do it, and it's like, cool. So you really need that visual to stop you dead in your tracks, and then it's almost secondary. People will read what you have to say. So imagery for us is super important.
Cool. And you said that you don't pay for advertising, but now that the reach is going down, do you experience anything, or do you try out advertising in any way? I mean, like, do you pay for reaching your fans or new target groups, and are you experiencing at all with ads now that the reach is so low?
Yeah, historically we don't advertise, so we've kept to that same ethos through all of our social platforms. Do we advertise? No, you won't see an advert ever on our page going, drink Monster, it's the greatest tasting drink. We just view it as it's not very cool. We also don't view the trying to be too intrusive and forcing our content in front of other people's eyes or into new news feeds. Have we played around with advertising spends to get to boost our reach? Definitely, but the key thing for us as well is only targeting existing fans. So when our fans see that stuff, even if it does come across as a sponsored link, it'll always be to someone that has previously liked, physically liked the page, not necessarily just liked a comment or post from somebody else, but has liked our page before, so it appears more natural.
That sounds really smart. And last thing before I let you go, what would you say is the number one challenge for a marketer now in 2014?
Big one, just pulling out the big guns. I think it's the same thing that's been the last few years, is fighting through all that noise. It's so many brands doing things, and again, just using that image there of people's news feeds. That's the most valuable real estate in the world, I'd say, someone's news feed. But you're fighting with your friend that just had a baby, your girlfriend's birthday. So there's all of these things. There's always going to be a cat video in there somewhere, and that's what you're fighting with. And it's someone had a shitty day, someone had a great day, someone's birthday. So that's the news feed. So you're trying to get into that and be in a very natural and cool, credible way. Because the last thing, in my eyes anyway, and I think as a cool brand, for us, we view ourselves as the cool kids. And so that's exactly it. You got to fight with the noise to get your stuff through. But I think that comes back to creating the credible content and viewing it like that. If you're not cool enough to be in amongst your friend's new job and your sister's new baby, then that's you're going to be fighting with that. So yeah, the number one problem is trying to cut through the noise of everyone else fighting to be in people's news feeds.
Cool. Thanks.
Cool.
Awesome.